There are two main theories regarding the diffusion of the Indo-European language from Europe into the United States in the form of what we know as English. One main theory is known as the nomadic warrior theory. This theory states that the first Proto-Indo-European speakers were the Kurgan people who lived on the border of present-day Russia and Kazakhstan. The Kurgans were nomadic herders, and they were some of the first people to domesticate horses and cattle. As a result, they started to migrate westward through Europe, eastward to Siberia, and southward toward Iran and South Asia in search of more grassland for their animals. Between 3500 and 2500 BC, the Kurgan people conquered much of Europe and South Asia through the use of physical force, as they had superior weapons and domesticated animals. With these conquests, the Proto Indo European language was quickly spread to Europe and South Asia, where it was later developed and eventually shipped overseas to the United States. A second theory is known as the sedentary farmer theory, developed by archaeologist Colin Renfrew. He argues that the first Proto Indo European speakers lived 2,000 years before these Kurgan warriors in what is known as Anatolia, which is a part of present day Turkey. As a result of these people's agricultural advances, they were in search of new and more fertile land. These people diffused westward toward Greece and then to Italy, Sicily, Spain, and Portugal, and along the Mediterranean coast. From there, they migrated north to France and the British Isles. In addition, the people diffused from France to Romania and Central Europe. From there, the language moved up toward the Baltic Sea and east toward Ukraine, and finally toward the Dnestr River, which is where the language became part of the Kurgan culture. The theory essentially argues that the Indo European language diffused into Europe and South Asia along with agricultural practices rather than by military conquest. The speakers of the language, which were the best farmers, became more numerous their, because their farming became a sustainable food source compared to hunting, which could go either way. I believe the sedentary farmer theory to be slightly more accurate. According to the recent research by biologist Quinton Atkinson, Anatolia appears to be the birthplace of the Indo European language, and the timing of the language's creation fits perfectly with the agricultural expansion of the people at the time. Atkinson and his colleagues traced back the vocabulary and geographical range of thousands of Indo European words to come up with this result. Another piece of evidence that supports this theory is that it comes from linguistic paleontology, in particular, certain words to do with the technology of wheeled vehicles. These words are arguably present across all the branches of Indo European family, and archaeology tells us that wheeled vehicles arose no earlier than this date. This means that the people of Anatolia were likely the first speakers of the Indo European language, thus supporting the sedentary farmer theory. Based on the multitude of factual evidence, I find the sedentary farmer theory more accurate than the nomadic theory.